my name is Jessica Walker, and I'm the IKE Services Manager at ikeGPS. Today, I'm going to go over how we train our analysts to estimate pole height and class. This is really important because if you don't have a birthmark, you really want to make sure you're getting as accurate as possible in terms of the height and class, since that sets the strength for the pole in pole loading analysis. Sometimes GIS data can be used to supplement field data, but this process also ensures that analysts can spot discrepancies and potential issues with GIS data. You're always going to want to use what you find in the field over any databases. So kind of going into an example here, I'm going to be using this southern pine pole that we collected. I've set the base already. First step is always going to be to set the height of the pole. This you're going to need to reference in the tables. So this one measures at 37 feet 10 inches. Typical rule of thumb is 10% plus 2 feet of the pole is going to be buried underground. On our southern pine table that we have here, it does have the approximate ground line distance from the butt. The butt is basically the bottom of the pole. In this case, 6.5 feet is going to be pretty close to where we're at. And then this also has the diameters that I should expect. I'm going to use IKE to measure these diameters since our fielder did not collect them. The table is 6 feet from butt, but we can't get that because it's underground. So we're going to get as close as we can. Especially in cases where you can't get the exact 6-foot measurement, you'll want to measure the top of the pole also. That'll give you an extra piece of data to compare if you're between two classes with the lower measurement. So I'm just going to get as close as I can here with the equipment in the way. So I've got about a foot at the bottom and then about 8 inches up top. So if I reference my table for a 45-foot pole, I'm basically just looking for those measurements. I'm going to start with the lower one. So I measured it at a foot, but that doesn't show me decimal feet. So I know it's probably either a class 2 or a class 3. Usually you would want to kind of be conservative and go with this weaker class if you're not sure or if the measurements are between, because this is the minimum circumference or diameter at that class. So they can be bigger, but they cannot be smaller than this. Because I took that extra measurement up top, I do have that here. And I measured it at 8 inches. So I feel pretty confident this is a class 2 with that 2 data set confirmation. This pole did have a birthmark and it is a class 2. So if you're training people, it's nice to use poles that have birthmarks so you have a clear yes, no on whether they got it right. Hopefully this was helpful and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks.